citizens in the United States of America have attained an associate's degree. You are in truly great company. And further, the future of our Commonwealth is in your hands. 85% of all graduates of our institutions of public higher education remain in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So please, work hard and do all of us proud and continue to make the Commonwealth of Massachusetts the #1 state in our nation. Congratulations to you all.
Cheryl Ann and I, as she said, we're just honored to be the speakers here today. You know, 30 years ago, I sat where you sat, in the arena, at a junior college graduation. I went to Becker and Leicester and Worcester, Becker Junior College, and the guy got up to speak, and I said, oh God, how long is he going to take? I'm going to get out of here. So I promise you I won't be too long. But you know, 30 years later, I still remember what he had to say. And it was about his honor. And it was about taking the road less traveled. And today, 30 years from my junior college graduation, I get to speak to you. What an accomplishment. You should be so, so proud of yourself. And you know, in life, nothing prepares you for the horrific tragedy that happened to Cheryl Ann and I and our family. You see, our daughter Brittany wanted to go on this mission trip. It was called the J Term at Lynn University, a 3-week course. She could have went to Europe to learn how to cook. She could have went to the Caribbean on board a ship and taken a 3-week class at sea, but she decided to go help the poorest of the poor in the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere. How proud we were of her. And she knew it was going to be a life-changing moment. And for us at 4:53 on January 12, 2010, our lives changed forever. And then 300,000 people perished in 20 seconds. But 36 hours after the tragedy, as we were just grasping for straws, we got a call. And it was from Vice President Phil Reardon of Lynn University. And he said, I want to be very clear. We've rescued Brittany and 2 of the other girls. We have them on a helicopter. They're on their way to Port-au-Prince Airport. And you will have her in your arms tonight in Fort Lauderdale at 11 p.m. And the party began. The jubilation was incredible. I'm the youngest of 8. There's 32 in our immediate family. We had 100 people at the house. The media went with us on the plane. And sadly, when we got to Florida, the president of the college looked at us with his eyes swelled almost shut, saying we had bad intelligence. We did not get your daughters. So, as most parents know, it's your worst nightmare to lose a child. But in our case, we lost our daughter twice in 48 hours, which is just unfathomable. We gathered for the next 33 days, and with the help of Senator Kerry, Congressman McGovern, 10 days after the earthquake, I traveled into Haiti, thanks to Secretary of State Clinton, along with some other parents, and we went to the Hotel Montana, where our daughter perished. We saw the recovery efforts in place. We saw the respect and dignity that was given. We prayed, we cried, and we hoped. On November 24th, we drove a box truck, my wife and I and our 2 sons, from Boston to Miami. And in that box truck was everything we needed ×2 to actually build for its orphanage. You have to understand, the country is crumbled. There is nothing there. So how are we going to build this orphanage? And that was the assessment I did in September. And now on our 3-day travel to get through that first holiday without our beautiful daughter, we stopped at every family's house on the East Coast that lost their daughter with Britt. And we visited with them and had a beautiful, beautiful time. And we put that truck on a ship down in Miami and put it into Haiti. On December 23rd, 2010, my oldest son Bernie, my nephew Ross, and a Haitian American from Athol, Massachusetts named Galma Perrison, we landed in Port-au-Prince. And we traveled out to Grand Guave, and for the next 3 weeks we set up camp. In that truck had everything we needed to get started, including the wood and toilet seat for a latrine, because we had nothing.
Why do I believe this? Please allow me to share my story with you. As a young child, I was raised in a small village in the central region of Ghana, West Africa. I had little opportunities to make many choices in life. Rather, I needed to accept whatever life delivered. I spent my time either weeding crops at a small farm in exchange for some food, or at a poorly constructed school with little resources. Every day, I wore heavy sandals made from used car tires. Because my family could not afford books, I used the same books my father used as a boy. I kept my pencil until it was too short to grip. In the evening, I studied by a kerosene lantern. All these life situations made staying in school difficult, but I persevered. When I wasn't in school, I used to hunt for birds and bring them home as pets. Because of this, I developed a keen interest in flight, aviation, and decided to study aeronautical engineering in the future. Sadly, I was discouraged by most people when I shared my plans with them. However, even at a young age, I was able to dream beyond the confines of my small, undeveloped township. I'm a person who believes in putting service before self, and I'm always willing to help others in need. One example occurred in 2010 when the people of Ghana experienced widespread flooding. That day, I risked my life to assist victims before rescue workers were able to arrive. I reacted quickly to help people get away from rapidly rising flood waters. Over 20 people died in the flood, but I was able to save 5 lives.
As I look up to all of you now, I am reminded of why my experience at Middlesex has been so strongly positive. I recently spent several months writing and talking about myself with the intention of impressing numerous admission committee members so that they would want me to continue my education at their schools. Writing for this event, for today, was different. I knew I didn't need to impress you all and regale you with tales of my accomplishments. Instead, the goal was to celebrate not just myself, but all of us, and share my story with you. Making the decision to restart my education was an easy one, but getting to that point was quite the journey. 3 years ago, I was sitting at the enrollment center in Bedford, registering for classes for my first semester at Middlesex. I was 20 then, and already I felt so behind in comparison to where my friends were in their lives. When I was a little girl, my grandmother, my aunt, and my mother often told me that I was brilliant and had a lot to offer the world. But my own lack of self-esteem succeeded in fighting those beliefs for years. I wanted to put the years of doubt and anxiety behind me and take on a new form of independence, so I tried to attend a state university right after high school. I so deeply wanted to believe I was ready. However, that didn't work out, and it took me 2 years to bounce back after that attempt. The important part of my story, though, is that one day I finally woke up. For all the doubt in my head telling me I couldn't, there was one voice telling me I could, I wanted to, and I would. This isn't to say that coming back into the academic world wasn't a little frightening at first. In the months leading up to my first semester, I kept asking myself, if I lost track before, what can I do to ensure that I won't follow the same path? I had vague answers. I knew I would try my very best, but at most, I expected to come to Middlesex for a year, raise my GPA, and go back to the university where I started. Little did I know. The first time I started to think more seriously about my education at Middlesex was in my English Comp 1 class. I was challenged as a writer, but also given the tools I needed to feel confident in the setting of a college-level class. It was also the first time I discovered that success in the classroom wasn't just about academics. It was about the connections I made as a student with the material, with my peers, and with my professors.
Trustees and the Department of Higher Education, I do confer upon you the degree of Associate in Arts and Associate in Science and certificate with all the rights and privileges thereunto pertaining. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the class of 2013. And welcome your classmate, Alyssa Dill. During this time at Middlesex, Alyssa Dill studied voice with her mother, Susan Dill, and she has frequently been featured as a solo singer. She will be accompanied by her mom, Middlesex Community College adjunct Professor Susan Dill, for the singing of God Bless America.
Back to the